Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. So for today, we're going to have this recorded lecture for chapter 5, which is on natural law. Okay, so before we start with the lesson, no? So these are the learning objectives for this recorded lecture. So the learning objectives would be to understand concept of Thomas Aquinas' natural law and how it is applied to ethics, and we'll also be going to discuss the or elaborate on the natural law's basic goods or fundamental basic goods and how we can apply the doctrine of double effect and principle of forfeiture when we're going to apply the natural laws concept in resolving the moral dilemmas. No? So this is going to be a very comprehensive topic, no? When it comes to Thomas Aquinas's natural law. So let's start with what is natural law. So Thomas Aquinas is one of the theologians back then in medieval era, no? So his theory, his natural law theory, was based on Aristotle's virtue and ethics. So he just combined some concepts of Christianity or Christian moral values sa iyahang natural law. So natural law theory bases moral principles upon several values rather than just one. So if i-compare nimo siya with other moral theories, for instance, kang Immanuel Kant or sa utilitarianism, there are several principles nga iyahang ginabase, dili lang kay isa. For instance, ang kang Kant or kang Immanuel Kant, iyaha is more on the moral duty to do good of a human person, muna ang moral obligation, no? So, ang kang Thomas Aquinas na natural theory is lahi-lahi ang iyang gina-prescribe. So it infuses the religious ideas of Christianity and morality. It combines the ontological and virtue-based approach in moral theories of ethics. So this is still a law or rules-based approach when it comes to applying the moral theories sa ethics, no? So, according kang Thomas Aquinas, everything has a natural function, a purpose, achieving some end or goal. So, the end toward which nature aims as desirable and normal have natural value. They are ends or goods for nature. So, this is something similar with um, Aristotle's virtue na ethics, no nga? Or kang Immanuel Kant's moral duty, no nga? All of us are an end to ourselves, no? We are not just any means, no? Where already we have a natural good, we have not this natural goodness, we are an end of itself, no? So the end towards which nature aims as desirable and normal have natural value. So nga to ang function, natay innate nga function or natay gina-achieve nga purpose, and that is to do good and do that which is desirable. That is the end of our nature. Natural theory then adds a fundamental first moral principle. We should maintain and promote the natural values toward which nature aims. So in a sense, natay murag mandate or dictate sa ato ang own nga nature. This creates a moral obligation. We have the moral duty to promote or preserve what has natural value. For instance, natay duty nga i-preserve ang isa ka life, ang health. We have this duty to promote education, or we also have this duty to protect life, no? To be a stewards of one's environment. So something like that. So in a sense, nagyapon siya mix of deontology or na siya mix sa moral nga duty. Okay. Another concept of natural law is the natural or cosmic order is rational. Its order and its function can thus be discovered by rational beings like ourselves. It is rational for us to harmonize our behavior with what works best in nature and promotes human flourishing. Aquinas also adds that the natural or cosmic order is the creation of a rational and good God. So, for instance, in other words, we are a reflection in the likeness and image of God. So, si God ang nag-create sa ato, He blessed us with this capability to be able to reason out, to have this intellect, and that intellect is what we actually use, what we actually control for us to do good and for us uh, to choose that which is something good or something that will promote the good of others. So muna ang iyang gipasabot nga the natural or cosmic order is rational, no? Okay, so just like this painting of Michelangelo, no? So ang the creation, all of the natural things there is, it's actually a creation of God, no? We are participating in this creation of God, no? Through our very own nature. So according pa niya, this is according sa Summa Theologia ni Thomas Aquinas, no? The rational soul is the proper form of man. There is in every man a natural inclination to act according to reason, and this is to act according to virtue. Consequently, consider thus all the acts of the virtues are prescribed by the natural law, since each one's reason naturally dictates to him to act virtuously. For many things are done virtuously, to which nature does not primarily incline, but which, through the inquiry of reason, have been found by men to be conducive to well living. No. So it is with our reason, our rationality, that we actually find out what is actually good and what is actually evil or what is actually bad, no? So muni siya ang iyang giingon nga natural nga law. So naatay init capability to decide which is some to um it's a gift for us to decide or to discern kung maayo ba ni atong binuhatan or dili ba ni siya insakto, no? And we actually translate that natural law into a human nga law. No, we actually legislate laws that will protect our rights, our individual rights, our life, no, that will promote well-being to the most or to the many or to all of the human beings. So as rational being, God established the created world so that it can function harmoniously when each thing fulfills its assigned function. God, being good, created the natural order to be good and its natural values to be good. No? Thus, we ought to maintain and promote natural values. That's the first principle of natural law. Since nag-create si God og something good, then kita as a reflection of God's creation are actually mandated to do good and to preserve or maintain that good, no? So na muna siya ang basis sa morality dire sa natural law. So muna siya natural law characteristics. This is based on human nature, morals, ethics, and conscience. This is not something that is affected by culture, custom, or society, nor is it governed by any judiciary or legislature. And this is common to everyone, irrespective of race, gender, and socioeconomic status. This evolves based on its usage, function, and circumstances. And this is also not taught by the humankind. This is something that we already gifted to us. And this is also universal, and this is also something constant. So let's now proceed with the fundamental basic goods. So we already know nga we are gifted with rationality. This is something that we use to decide whether something is good or bad, and this is also something that we use to create laws that will further the good or further the promotion of goodness or uncommon good for all. So let's now go to the fundamental nga basic goods. So what are these goods nga according kang Thomas Aquinas, this is something nga valuable sa natural law. So ang gina-emphasize diri is ang preservation or protection of life, reproduction, education, worship, social life, avoiding offense, and shunning ignorance. So I'm going to explain that concepts later on, no? One by one. So, see life, the first good is to make sure living creatures preserve their lives. This understanding it was is what keeps them off from danger. So, di ba, kibaw man ta nga, there are some animals, not only us, but there are also some creatures who will protect their youngs or their offsprings from any natural threat. And that is something that we also share with them, no? That instinct to survive, instinct to protect our life from any kind of threat or any danger. Now there is also reproduction, no? So there is this natural instinct to reproduce, propagate, no? To reproduce is one of the fundamental goods for the society to propagate the human population. Again, as can be seen in the natural world or natural environment, there are some creatures that will actually propagate or reproduce. Also, for instance, some plants, they would also, reproduce. Although it's a very different lang pamaagi. Education. Humans must educate their offspring as it is the foundation for their moral and behavioral development. So in the wild, um, a wild animal will actually train or actually teach their young ones or their offspring to actually hunt for food or how they can actually survive in the wild. But unlike the animals, we have this capacity to actually educate our um, our young ones, ang ato ang anak nga para dili lang sila nga mag-survive but also for them to flourish and develop to be a fully realized creature or human beings. So dili lang ta na restrict in a sense nga dapat lang ta mag-survive ani nga world, but we can also educate others on how they can live their life in a good way or how they can realize or how they can reach their potentials as a human person. Worship. So it is the next step towards gaining a sense of morality and conscience. It allows differentiating between good and evil. So this is something nga wala sa uban nga creature. This is something nga only found with humankind. Social life, it plays a crucial role in developing the moral character and sensibility of human beings. Even Aristotle, one of the first advocates of the natural justice system, called humans a social animal. So, dili lang ta, we're not the only person in this world. So, no man is an island. We have to interact with others, we have to live with others, and we have to deal with others. Avoiding offense, this is also one of the fundamental basic goods in natural law. The next essential good is not to involve yourself in any offense or any crime or any transgression towards others, no? So, 'di ba, ang end goal man is to do good and avoid doing anything that is evil or contrary to what is good. And we also have shun ignorance or avoiding ignorance. This is also related to education, no? So avoiding ignorance signifies not forgetting essential goods at any cost. There are instances where humans bury their conscience and do something they know is wrong, no? So let's now address more a moral conflict. No? So there are several moral conflict that we actually come upon when we talk about natural law. So I think I gave a very specific example, especially atong sa midterms, no, where we're in si Heinz. Heinz is a husband to his wife, and his wife actually needs a cure for her cancer. Then there's this druggist nga, this druggist developed a drug that can actually potentially cure Heinz's wife's ailment. So then Heinz actually stole the drug for him to be able to cure his wife's ailment. So, most of you actually answered nga it is better for Heinz to steal the drug kay para ma-save niya ang life sa iyang wife, which is actually something morally permissible, no? Kay you're actually prioritizing ang life sa iyang wife over the property of Heinz. Although if I'm going to actually use a utilitarian kind of perspective, it is actually not permissible since ang mag-benefit raman kay si ang wife ni Heinz instead of the many potential patients that can be saved sa katong nga drug. And this is also more morally uh, not permissible if I'm going to talk about Kant's moral duty, no? Kay the intention of stealing itself is already evil or immoral, no? Okay, so let's now go to how we would address moral conflict using the concepts of moral law. So, natay principle of forfeiture. So, by deliberately attacking or threatening an individual or nation, that person forfeits his own moral claim to live or to exist. So, kinsa may atong gina-refer nga person dere or innocent. So, an innocent is a person or nation that has not attacked or threatened another. So, for you to be able to utilize this principle, that person has to be transgress or mataksa siya ay hanimo ni siya i-invoke. So, this can be used if pananglitan, no? Naay ganahan mo hurt sa imuha, naay ganahan mo pasakit nimo. So, naturally, ang imuhang priority is to save your life or to survive. So, in this sense, defending your life from the danger from the aggressor or those who would like to seek your harm, it's actually morally permissible or morally allowed, no? So if kailangan nimo nga mo laban kaniya, kailangan nimo nga pasakitan siya to the point nga kailangan nimo nga mapatay gid nimo siya, it's because imuhang i-defend imuhang life according to the natural law or natural principle of forfeiture. This is actually allowed or morally permissible. And we also have here ang capital punishment. So the capital punishment would actually draw from this principle of forfeiture. For them, it is better if ilahang patawan of death penalty ang isa ka person if it means that you are protecting the society from the threat of that person or that criminal. So there are actually countries today who are who have this capital punishment as one of their laws, sa ilahang country, especially sa mga drug related nga cases or sa ilahang kana magpuslit ka og drugs or any illegal goods, no they would actually imprison you, and worse, ila kang patawan og death penalty or mabutang ka sa death row. It's because naana silang law nga you are actually a threat to their society, and a threat, what do you naturally do with a threat is for them to actually liquidate or execute you, so muna siya ang basically muna siya ang principle sa forfeiture. Then we also have this doctrine of double effect. So this is actually quite complicated, but I'm going to dissect the concepts or principle of the double effect. So when an act produces both a good and a bad effect, it is permissible to perform that act only if all of the following conditions are satisfied. So this is usually the case of kanabitang necessary evil. So for you to be able to achieve that good, there must na ay unavoidable nga evil nga mahitabo. So they would naturally term this as the necessary evil, kay this is actually something nga gina-apply sa usually abortion and euthanasia or assisted suicide for terminally ill nga mga patients, or katog yung ga-suffer na nga patients. So what is this principle of good effect? So actions with two effects, one good and one bad. So nakay ginabuhat nga action, in trying to do that action na ay isa ka effect nga good, na isa ka effect nga bad. So the only condition nga dapat moral ni siya nga action is one may not will the evil directly. So dapat dili nimo intent nga evil jud. For instance, imo jang patyon ang isa ka mother, imuhang i-kill ang isa ka mother for you to save the child, or in a converse way or in another sense, dili nimo pwede nga patyon ang bata or ang child just to save the mother. So one must intend the good effect but may permit or tolerate the evil effect. For instance, removal of ventilator to produce comfort, no? And also introducing therapeutic levels of pain medication. So good effect must not come about as a causal result of an evil nga action. So dapat dili nimo patyon ang patient kay para lang mahimasmasan siya sa iyahang pain. So there must be a proportionate reason for the procedure. So saving a pregnant mother's life by removing a cancerous tumor in uterus will indirectly cause harm to the fetus, no? So ang kani siya nga example, dili nimo gina-intend nga i-kill gyud nimo ang fetus, directly. So this is actually just an effect, a bad effect when you are going to save the mother's life, no? And kato, the trolley problem, in saving the life of five people, it will actually mean that you're going to cause harm or sacrifice the life of that one individual, no? So, in doing that good, there will be a bad effect nga will happen simultaneously with the good. So again, the good effect must not come about as a causal result of an evil nga action. So dapat mahitabo ang good effect o bad effect simultaneously. So dapat dua na sila, that they will happen all at once. So they should not happen just because you did something sa isa ka action. For instance, dili siya dapat masave ang life sa mother if it means nga imuhang patyon gyud ang bata. So ang imong intention good must be to save the mother. So there are actually several problems with the natural law or ang concept sa natural law theory. So one of these is the foundation problems. So what reason is there for accepting the first principle that we have a moral obligation to, I think moral obligation to actually preserve what preserve the life of an individual. So ang iyaharang contention ani is that unsa bay sense nga kailangan namo i-follow tong natural thing sa isa ka butang. Thank you. So non-theistic natural theories seem unable to offer any such reason. What nature aims at doesn't necessarily have any moral value. It's not clear why the natural status quo must be viewed as something we have a duty to preserve, no? So ang ilang lang intend diri is that something which has a value in itself, no? Why does it have to be followed, no? Or why does it have to be, what reason are we going to be morally obliged to it, no? So muna siya. And naasad ang problem of vagueness. The term itself, natural, is inherently vague. Dili siya clear-cut, dili siya kanang well-defined, no? It is not clear what sort of things, especially arising out of human technology, should count as natural. A natural law theorists reply, we need to be careful not to assume something is unnatural simply because it originates from human technology rather than nature. For instance, could be ang cloning technology. Is it morally permissible to actually clone organs from the animals if it means that we can use this organ to benefit those that need transplants? Is it something morally good? Is it something ethical? That needs to be asked, no? That still needs to be examined. So what counts is not a thing's origin, but rather the end it aims at. So natural law theory considers something good if it is a natural end or a goal, no? There, nevertheless, are natural ends that do not appear to be good. So, for instance, the natural tendency of human towards aggression and conflict. So, this is something can be also be found with also other biological creatures. No, they can be or they tend to be aggressive. They tend to kill or hunt other creatures, and that is something probably that is something dili pod morally permissible. So we now go to love as natural law. So each of us have this innate tendency to, or innate capacity to love another, not only towards ourselves but also to other human person. So in a sense, to be a human person therefore is to love. Love is the natural law of humanity. This is something that has been gifted to us by God, and it means it is the diffusion of the person into another, making the other part of his or her person. Di ba makadungog man ta? Two persons become one, or nagbind sila, they become one person because they have this same capacity to love one another. No, they actually share in their capacity to love with one another. Love should not only be expressed, but also it should be found in what we do. So, love, it's not something endearing. It's not only a gesture nga atong gina-express not only through words or through any flattering words, but also through our actions, no, and through also what we do. And ultimately, love express is actually justice, no. When we actually promote the good of others, when we actually protect the life of one another, when we actually choose to do the good, to promote the well-being of another, or to promote the common good, this is actually justice na. That is the highest form of love or highest form of good there is. No? Okay, so I'm ending the recorded lecture at this part. So what I needed you to do is for you to uh, let me check lang ha. Okay, so homework lang, guide questions. Please answer guide questions numbers 1 to number 10. Use one whole lang or you can encode your answers. Also, please answer part 2. Explain the following statements numbers 1 to number 3. This is found on page 57 to 58 of your reference material. So this reference material, I have already uploaded this sa inyong LMS. Okay? So before mo mag-answer, you can read the reference materials lang sa and or you can choose to watch or view this recorded nga lecture. So that is all. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or concern, you can message me in Messenger or you can address it to me during class na inig ka next week. Okay? So, by the way, I'm going to submit your grades na on November 8th. That's Tuesday. So, if you have any questions or concern regarding your grade, please feel free to message me or please feel free to send a message before November 8th. Okay, that will be all, and thank you so much.